is if we see a Nunu mid ban. Something that might be in the play for QUT perhaps, although more likely I would expect to see the Olaf ban focusing on Terran Zhu, who has been very, very strong. And look, we can't overlook UOM's bot lane either. Zunzuki and Roach showed great bot lane synergy. In fact, they're almost what enabled that Nunu mid in order to succeed by dominating the bot lane. It always opened up that avenue for Terran as well as Tham to invade on the bot side and find pick after pick. That was where the strength of the Nunu realistically lied. QUT should have had time to sort of watch the film, understand how that team composition worked, and you would think would plan against it. However, I'm not seeing a Nunu or an Olaf banned.
No, Nunu or Olaf, neither banned. They've instead decided to ban out the Zac, Lucian, and the Bard, knocking down that bot lane and that jungle, as QUT is going to lock in the Ziggs. Now, something to take note, that's a flex pick because there has been, Ziggs played in that ADC role and in the mid lane. So that's a really, really bizarre first pick from the side of QUT. But I like it.
That insta-lock Ziggs almost made me do a literal spit take because I happened to be taking that sip of the water right then and then bam, it gets locked in. Karma, not going to be too surprising of a pickup for UOM. They have kind of been a lot of Karmas throughout this tournament thus far. UOM hasn't really taken it yet, but I expect them, again, if they do go for that Nunu mid, it kind of lends in that hand because you get that extra bit of speed boost as well. You have a bit more of that roaming potential. Ezreal goes with the same sort of synergy. I'm liking what UOM is putting together already.
Yeah, and this is what we were saying in game one. Because of the lack of ADCs that are really prevalent at the moment, you're usually going to see them picked first too, because then you're giving nothing away. They're given picks. Other than last game, which was a little bit of a, shake things up. They banned all the meta ones. You're going to get them seen first. So we have actually the Lux and the Ziggs. Is that QUT's bot lane? We don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that does happen to be the bot lane. I'm a little bit surprised, actually, if QUT is going to be going for that Lux Sona, because that is already a massive amount of ability power and not a lot of AD, perhaps. So QUT, that could be that bot lane Shen being locked in. I feel that will be going up top to Tron the Palm. A very, very safe pick, especially, taking it blind. So it still leaves up that flexibility for the bot lane open as well. QUT keeping their options on the table.
Yeah, QUT liking to keep things open. They have the flexibility of putting that Lux mid. They can put it bot. They can do the same with Shen. They can do the same with Ziggs. I think they're liking to keep their options open to see what UOM is going to pick. And there's that Olaf that we mentioned that has been so successful previously, and they're just going to lock it in because it's been so successful. If it ain't broke, why fix it? And looking at QT's team comp, there's a lot of interrupts at their, CC and whatever that QT is going to try throw out. So who better than Olaf to just run right through it?
Yeah, and if you're looking at how Terran Zhu has been going on this Olaf thus far, yes, UOM is 1-1 as a record, but he is still 16-5-16 on this Olaf, and that's including a loss. So Terran very comfortable on this champion. I'm very surprised actually that it got through for QUT. Also, by locking in the Shen and not the Sona, UOM is just going to get rid of the possibility of the Sona Lux. They're going to ban away the Sona, get Kha'Zix as well away from Entropic. Very targeted bans. UOM, I feel like this pick and ban phase right now is very much going the exact way they want it to.
Yeah, UOM has got a very, very solid team right now. It is interesting. I like what QUT's done there by picking the Shen and not something like the Sona, because my guess is they were never going to go for the Sona, and that's why they opted for the Lux first. But what it means is you have to ban the Sona or risk it, coming out from the side of QUT. So you're effectively wasting a ban from UOM. Nunu is up, and so is Set. So far, this is a team that could realistically use a Nunu because they need some AP damage, like some solid AP.
They need a mid laner. There's a lot of other mid laners who do AP damage. It's not just Nunu.
But none as good as Nunu.
Again, though, going back to the QUT, though, picks and bans, I'm still a bit surprised to see that Ziggs almost auto-locked in first. Yeah. I almost would have instead liked to have seen the Lux auto-locked in first, because then maybe you almost could have forced UOM, instead of taking that Karma, to have locked in the Sona in its place and gone for something perhaps suboptimal if they were afraid of it. Yone is going to make his first appearance, I believe, on stream for us. I believe we saw him in the highlights before in another game. No, that will be his first appearance. And there's the new hover. So QUT is aware. Do they pull that ultimate Chad move and lock it in away from UOM?
You know, it's very possible they could lock that in and just really, really take that option away. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to take Lilia either if they feel like winning the game. Never mind. QUT is instead opting for the Lilia Yone. We've got the 2 new champions being locked in, and I think Roach should just lock in Nunu. Just do it.
So we have, I believe this is our first Lilia of the tournament, our first Yone of the tournament, and our first Ziggs of the tournament, all being locked in for the QUT side. So QUT going a new direction. Braum being hovered right now, which is going to get locked in. Okay, so the Karma will be going mid lane, actually.
Yeah.
So getting away from the new mid, Sam the Simp going to mix it up. We'll be taking Karma mid lane instead to go up against a Yone. No clue what that matchup is. I am not, well versed enough to really comment on Yone and his matchups just yet, as it actually could be the set in mid lane. My apologies.
It's very possible. I think they might switch. It's very possible that they're going to do that. It works either way. Personally, I think that the Karma is a better choice, seeing as, especially with Arcadian's E, he really doesn't have that option to jump back in without the threat of the Karma throwing the thing on him. However, Sam the Simp on that, I'm having a mental blank. What's his name? Fisticuff Man.
Set?
There we go. On set means that he can tank the engage and the poke that comes from the soul shackle of...
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Fisticuff Man?
Professional analyst.
Fisticuff. You know who's the Fisticuff Man? If you were just to go by appearance alone, it would be Braum. Braum has the he has the fisticuff handlebar mustache. He
does. That's true.
It would be Braum. But yeah, no. I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I do agree with you. I believe Karma should be going into that mid lane, just because as well. If you take a look at how Terran likes to play jungle, how he likes to invade with the mid laner, Karma gives that extra speed boost as well. Can get Olaf in, kill out much safer than necessarily a Set, who I'm sure is happy to run in with you. But you're not going to be getting sort of those mobility buffs and that better follow through, especially considering Set still has that potential of possibly being shoved in against by the Yone. I would have liked to see those top and mid later switch around.
Yeah, I personally would too. We're actually going to look at some highlights, I believe, here of last week games.
Can't take my eyes off, can't take my eyes off, can't take my eyes off, can't take my eyes off. Motion, dancing slow motion. My eyes can't help looking at you right now. So much emotion, just pick your poison. Is every move you make even allowed? Can't get enough. I try my best to look away, but I can't stop. Am I in free to you? We almost touch. I feel your body move my way, you're close enough. So I say, can't take my eyes on you. You are all I see. Can't take my eyes on you. You know what I mean. Can't take my eyes on you. You are all I see. Can't take my eyes on you. Take my eyes on you. Yeah. Can't take my eyes on. Can't take my eyes on. Can't take my eyes on. You make my heart burn. It's like I'm awake inside of a dream. You're getting closer, night's almost over. I might just ask you to leave now with me. Can't get enough. I try my best to look away, but I can't stop. Am I free to you? We almost touch. I feel your body move my way, you're close enough. So I say, can't take my eyes on you. You are all I see. Can't take my eyes on you. You know what I mean. Can't take my eyes on you. You are all I see. Can't take my eyes on you. Take my eyes on you.
back, everybody, as we're about to jump onto Summoner's Rift for our second match of the evening of QUT taking on UOM. Now, we spent a lot of that draft talking about the UOM team composition. Let's kind of turn that magnifying glass back over to what is, I guess, our home turf over at QUT, because 3 champions being played for the first time this tournament with the Yone, the Lilia, and the Ziggs. How do you think they're going to fare, especially against a 5-man invade?
Well, I think they're going to fare pretty well so far, seeing as they preemptive warded that. So they now know that they are getting 5-men invaded, so Lilia is just going to happily walk up to that top side, get a ward down. They have real no problem here. No kills going to be coming out from UOM. So a thwarted invade, and at the end of the day, QUT comes out with a valuable vision ward.
Yeah, I mean, both sides still are able to successfully get those wards through, although Sam the Simp did have to spend a little bit of health courtesy of 1 bomb out of Little Simo. I'm very much concerned for this QUT team composition. I think Lilia, especially into the likes of an Olaf, is going to be a rough matchup, especially if Terran can find those options and opportunities to invade and really harass this Lilia before she's, like, able to clear and sustain herself at the same time. It could be a very dangerous situation. The top half of the map, where this Karma is going to be that dangerous part, because I'm expecting Karma to relatively successfully poke out Tron the Palm and look to perhaps assist Terran sometimes with these invades. However, if QUT can sort of survive, I feel like these first 6, 7, 8 levels or so, that's when the team composition will start to unlock itself.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. If they can get to that point, the team is really going to be able to make use of what they're doing. And they have actually gone with the set here. They've gone for the Ghost set here, which is an interesting pick. Maybe to just try get some engage. Or like you were saying, they lack of mobility in the jungle roams. The Ghost might just be there to help out. Something to take note of is, although both jungles are quite low as we speak, you know, Olaf has a really, really easy way of healing back up with that W, whereas Entropic on that Lilia really doesn't have any sustain to get back other than, you know, the pots and what they can do. So that's the main problem I have with the Lilia. I believe we spoke about it, I don't know if it was last stream or if it was off stream, about things we think would improve Lilia, and I think you suggested adding a little bit of healing on minions at the end of her Q.
Yep.
Not to make her a lane dominant bully or anything, because that would be the problem, but just maybe make her jungle clear a little bit nicer, because right now she is low and she has really no way of getting up there.
Exactly that. Those are sort of those small changes that we need. Like you see, she's losing a fight to the Krugs right now. We'll be able to turn it back around, but yeah, just having that little bit of extra sustain, I think, would make her a bit more competitively viable traditionally. Everything else in her kit definitely lays itself to be a strong champion. It's just that sustain right now that I feel like is holding her back from being one of the better junglers in the game. However, I'm happy to be proven wrong, and if QUT is able to do that this game, well, I'll eat my words. This was a conversation we had off stream, but I have had it on stream in the past, so it is no stranger to those who do listen to my voice that I do believe Lilia needs to be improved in the near future. This is as someone who plays a fair bit of Lilia, as, a bit of trouble for Arcadian right now. Arcadian's had issues in the past with some of his early game trades and positioning, and this opening game definitely going that same sort of direction. Sam the Simp really punishing Yone on the set.
Yeah, really good to see Sam the Simp getting that pressure that he really needs to get in that mid lane. If Arcadian is able to get going onto that Yone, effectively Yone, you've got to treat him like a Yas. He gets 1 item, 2 items, and he becomes incredibly, incredibly strong. So if they can get that the other way around and get Sam the Simp incredibly strong, it's going to make it really hard for Arcadian to do anything. Something to take note of, and this is what we were talking about with that jungle, you know, the character difference. Entropic had to sacrifice the double crab, because after his full bot side clear and his full clear, he had no HP to contest. He had to back off, giving Terran Zoo 2 crabs at early game. So he's going to be really, really behind when they get this transition. And you actually see Terran Zoo looking like he may be trying to get a gank off, but happily going to back and reset.
I mean, should be sitting on a significant amount of farm on this stage, so we're going to see a pretty significant buy. Yep, the Ruby Crystal going as well with that Stalker's Blade, I believe. So a good setup for Terran Zhu, who now will be more willing to actually go for some of these plays with that Chilling Smite possibly available. We can start to see that more aggressive Olaf. Something else that I've actually only just noticed, and, you know, +1 for awareness out of myself as Arcadian does kind of do all right in that trade. So typically when you watch a LAN broadcast, down at the bottom of the screen, you will notice sort of the player cams. We actually have the summoners picture. So there was a brief moment in my head where I just made this connection. Oh my goodness, our players have actually transformed into the champions themselves and are now playing the game. I don't know. I just think it's really cool, and I'm kind of kicking myself for only noticing it just now, unless this is actually the first time we've brought it up, in which case, look at our beautiful overlays here at QUT, people. These things are absolutely phenomenal.
I know the people behind the scenes have done an incredible job getting these out and available. I believe I saw a little bit of a
Yeah, but
panic
they're
rush.
smiling behind the scenes right now. They know what's
They
up.
don't like the spotlight.
As we get back to the action, it will be a Mountain Drake as this first dragon these teams will compete for. A pretty significant one as well. I would think it would go into UOM's hands, just considering the jungle tempo established thus far in this game. However, QUT is sort of dominating in this bot lane right now, and perhaps they might be the more proactive team on the bot side.
Yeah, they're landing a lot of stuns, which is really, really good to see from Flick.
Oh,
as
here we go,
Roach-
though. Roach is going to go in. Terran Joe is there. The exhaust is dropped, forcing out the flash. But the chilling smite and the flash will secure that kill. First blood going over to Zanzuki, and they want another little Simo. 2 autos away from being stunned themselves. However, too many minions in the way, so we won't be seeing a UOM die. Still a first blood for this red side, and one that they will happily take.
Yeah, that's really good to see from Roach there with that proactive jump in to land that stun, get that summoner spell down, as they're just going to turn onto Dragon now. Sam the Sim coming down for that roam, giving his contribution to the Dragon fight. As this should be the first Mountain Drake going over to the side of UOM, and we have an Air Drake second, so pretty good Dragons overall for both teams. But if they can keep this up, UOM will be more than happy with this.
Yeah, UOM, obviously, again, as we're talking about sort of having that jungle priority and that jungle tempo, they are the more proactive team, and they do make the play happen down in that bot side. Sort of as we've said it was going to happen. Olaf, you know, gets that first buy, gets that chilling smite, and immediately puts it to use to secure that objective. And this is one of the weird things about UOM. Yes, they sort of play some unconventional champions, like Braum isn't really a support we've seen too much of. Set mid lane, new mid lane in the past. However, they do know how to play these team compositions, and they know how to play as a team, and that's what makes them a significant threat.
Yeah, they really know what they're doing here.
Flick. Oh, Flick is in a bad spot. You don't want to be here, buddy, as not much Flick can do. Kind of gets flicked out of existence.
Yeah, Taranzu popped the ulti there just to be safe. I think Flick realized a little too late that I might be out of position here. And, you know, he tried valiantly to walk up to Zanzuki, get the stun Q ignite, maybe try to get the trade back kill. It wasn't to be. Unfortunate misplay from Flick there gets him caught out as that kill goes over to Zanzuki. So now what was a good lane for them, didn't go great with that invade and that roam. However, now it's gone even worse because now Zanzuki has a kill on the Ezreal.
Yeah, and again, when Zanzuki plays well, the rest of UOM plays well. We've already learned that within our first 2 weeks. This team, despite having their unorthodox mid lane picks from Sam the Sim, they do like to play through the bot side of the map, and they're already starting to establish themselves there once again. And it's a little bit surprising, actually, because in the past, QUT has also been a more bot-centric team. They like to play as well around Flick and Little Simo, who traditionally have been a bit more conservative. However, just through lane positioning and harass as well, they've been forcing Flick into awkward spots, and at the same time, when Terran is up there to punish, UOM doing a great job at capitalizing on every little misstep QUT makes.
Yeah, they're doing really, really good work here, as they're actually even invading right now.
Oh, good little grab, forces the flash out of Entropic, who should be able to get out of this one. They had some help with the steadfast presence as out of Tron the Palm there. Very interesting ultimate. Stand United, I should say, not steadfast presence. I don't know how I got those two confused. Either way, they forced the ultimate out of Tron. Still has teleport available, but that does mean UOM is going to feel confident enough to start this Rift Herald up above. Meanwhile, down below, Flick could be in trouble yet again. True Shot Barrage secures that kill as the big shield of Braum stops all of the poke that would have been going back to Sunsuki. Great little lane matchup, and UOM continuing to snowball.
Yeah, and that's the strength of the Ezreal Braum bot lane is you can pretty much confirm an ultimate across the face of your opponent with that stun from Braum, especially the slow on top of that really locks them down. Unfortunately, the ultimate didn't hit Little Simo there, and he got away. But we actually have a fight. Looks like it's going down in the bot lane.
Yeah, more engage is happening from UOM as Little Simo does get Roach back just off screen. It was a bit of a gank, actually, as Entropic did force their way there. And we can sort of see the tail end of it. Little Simo still looking quite healthy.
Yeah, Flash used from Roach, heal used from Zanzuki. In that earlier fight, we had both Flash and Ghost used by Sam the Simp. Overall, summoners are looking a little timed by UOM. Something to take note of as well. QUT has opted for triple teleport on their team compared to UOM, who's gone for more conventional summoners. Ignoring the Ghost set mid lane. Hey, it's better. To be fair, it's better than having the prototype Omni Stone from last week that you were not a fan of.
That is very true, actually. I would rather see Ghost than Omni Stone any day of the week. Specifically Wednesdays today, as this match does continue. What I do like, though, about some of these Summoner Spells cooldown timer, though, both the Flash on Terran as well as Zanzuki will be available for what could be this next Dragon fight, and it's one UOM I expect are going to make a push towards. Looking at the jungle and the pathing as well, Terran actually can just kind of clear out that bot side of the jungle, then make their way to the Dragon, whereas Lilia and Entropic are instead looking at this mid lane, but Roach is there as well. Arcadian forced to try to flash out. Roach committing for the play, but Sam the Simp wants no part of it. A great two-man knockup means Arcadian will secure the kill on the Braum. Sam the Simp going to use the showstopper, trying to throw Entropic into the waiting axe of one Sam the Simp. Ragnarok's dropped, but nothing's going to be taken for it. Disaster for UOM with Dragon spawning in 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was absolutely disastrous for UOM. An incredible combo from QUT there, showing the strength of that Yone-Lilia combo. Who'd have think we'd say those words, Lilia and strength, in the same sentence? But, they were able to pull it off, getting that ult out of Arcadian, pulling them together, allowing Entropic to land the max damage dunk from Lilia. Which confirms them the Dragon, which is really, really good to see for them, balancing out a little bit. And Ocean will be the soul that we'll be getting, so both teams would really, really love to get this soul.
Something I want to bring up as well is Entropic with this Lilia lock-in actually did not really get that punish despite happening down below. A big final spark does a lot of damage to Zanzuki, who still has no summoners available. Had to flash out of that one. That means Roach will fall. 4 members from QUT now on the bot side of the map, and they're going to look to take some towers with help of Little Simo on that Ziggs.
Yeah, something I want to take note of real quick, because it is a weird pick. I was thinking about it earlier, and it's sort of, it has sort of come out of nowhere. Why would you pick Braum into a matchup of 2 mages?
You want to block those abilities, I suppose.
But at the end of the day, Braum's real strength comes in against people like those Caitlyn's, like those Lucians, where you can block their main damage, which is their auto attacks. So it just seems like a weird pick, in my opinion, compared to, I don't know, anything else. But I understand why they picked it for the shield, but there's so many other champions they could have picked to sustain themselves in that lane over the Braum shield. It has worked for them. I'm not saying it hasn't worked. The ultimates and the roams have been very good from Roach, as Roach has been playing incredibly well. But I almost wonder, would another champion have allowed him to do more this game?
I feel like when Roach is playing well on this Braum, it does justify the pick, but there's been far too many times already in this game where Roach has kind of gotten a little bit too aggressive and then has been punished for it, as action happening down below. Tron the Palm gets beat up a little bit, but will not go down. That was Ghost actually burned by Sam the Simp, so a summoner used, not really get anything in response for it. Where are they going to then apply that pressure? Well, Rift Herald does get dropped in mid lane, but it won't even take down that first tower.
No, that's a really unfortunate use of it there. I'm not sure if it was running out of time or what happened there, but they weren't able to get any benefit from it. So, a weird drop, I'll say that. Like you said, they didn't even get that first tower, which is really not what you want. If you want to have that drop, you really want to use it as early as possible to capitalize gold off those tower plates. They weren't going to get any plates off this anyway, as they'd already fallen, but they didn't even get the tower, which is really, really not what you want when you're using Herald, because that's a big commitment to drop, to just give effectively 3 gold to QUT and get half a tower. So it's honestly the better option would have been to not use it and don't give QUT the gold, because at the end of the day, if you win a successful team fight, you're going to take the tower down no matter what.
We get to see some Yone poke onto Sam the Simp. It's very interesting thus far because UOM seems to continuing to be the more proactive team despite realistically being behind in both towers and gold. Ragnarok's still going to be used on Trom the Palm, and that will be a very dead Shen. So even from behind, they're still proactive, and they are still finding picks. I'm not sure the damage is going to be there, though, to take down this tower just yet. The True Shot Barrage should clear out those minions, and you can see the rest of UOM retreating for now. Their eyes now more set on the mid lane, as Little Simo needs to be a bit careful right here.
Yeah, Little Simo needs to be aware that, we've seen it already, that Roach is more than happy to just jump to a minion and go
but
dive.
Roach also needs to be a bit cautious as well. The fight happening just above as Terran does get picked up by Flick, and UOM will have to back away. They're trying to find these picks. They're trying to find these fights. However, it just is not seeming to be the case.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Yone in that top lane was chunking down Karma, who's now forced to back because, Karma stepped up for 2 seconds, and that's where that strength of a 2-0 Yone really comes into play. It's a really, really good pick there, going for the static Shiv, because he knows the strength of Yone, shoving in those lanes, getting that pushing, and then going for those fights. He doesn't really need the PD right now. He's not really under threat from any damage like that. So having that static Shiv is just going to allow him to, one, poke a little better. He can just Q the minion wave, still zap through, so get a little bit of ranged poke going. And overall, I think it's just a really good pick for him.
Yeah, and we're seeing it put into use on the split push right now as Cotton Dude just is unable to really stop Arcadian, who, to Arcadian's credit, this is sort of the best performance we've seen thus far out of this mid laner. In the past, Arcadian has kind of struggled in the early game, and it's translated into late game being less effective than he would like to be. This time around, Arcadian has been establishing that side lane pressure using the Yone, actually had a laning phase that didn't turn into a complete disaster, and much better performance for the QUT mid lane.
Yeah, QUT mid laner Arcadian has been playing really, really good this game, and that's really nice to see. It's really good to see people who might not have had an up week earlier, but they're learning from their mistakes, they're turning it around, which is really encouraging to see, because as this progresses, things get better. As we might have a fight breaking down in the bot lane.
Dragon. It is time for that Ocean Drake now. Teleport will be coming up in about 10 seconds for Arcadian. Not sure that's going to be enough time, though, because UOM, they're already converging on this Ocean Lizard. UOM are positioned more around it. They're posturing correctly. It does look like QUT is going to try to get the flank, but they need to be cautious because Zonzuki is continuing to try to put that pressure in that mid lane. And Lil Simo gets caught out. Sam the Sip gets 2. True Shot Barrage down the middle. Actually doesn't connect with anyone as Arcadian has been able to join the fray. A big ultimate out of Lilia into the Showstopper does stop Sam the Sip, but not quite enough. Entro pick on the back end does find Cotton Dude. Lil Simo gets Roach as well, and UOM already down 2 members are running for their lives. The Ocean Drake will be taken by QUT, but not before Terran might be able to find Arcadian. That shield is massive, courtesy of Tron the Palm, and that fight definitely goes in QUT's favor.
That was really, really well played there from Arcadian on the back there. Terran Zoo thought he was going to jump back to the Soul, tried to prep his Q there, instead deciding to flash into range to land the auto Q to then E back, get that execute damage down. Really, really smart play from Arcadian, and this is what we call a successful Herald drop, because they're going to get more than the tower. They're going to get possibly 2 here with the Ziggs help.
Yeah, I mean, death timers aren't quite long enough yet. That makes me think they can really ride this Riftfield, although that is a low tower. Little Simo thinking about it, trying to get there. Do we see the satchel charge? There it is. Not enough damage, though, to take the tower out, so Little Simo... it was a little explosion, not the big one needed, but still will kind of creepily walk away. Why does he walk with his mouth so open?
Because he's insane. That's the simple answer.
It's to eat the dragon fruit.
Exactly, he's prepping for the dragon fruit. As that fight is what we were looking for QUT. Is, I was going to say, looking at CS early before that fight, it was very, very even. They were within sort of 5 to 10 of each other in any lane. However, QUT still had a gold advantage, and now they've just accentuated that gold lead even further. So that's really, really encouraging to see. Look at their team. They've got 3 members with bounties. There's a Lilia with 2-0 and bounty. It's not okay.
No, it's a very, very strong showing from Lilia, and I'm starting to come to that horrible realization that maybe it's not the champion that's bad. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the bad. Sad. Mad. Back to the game. UOM trying to reestablish themselves on Summoner's Rift, as I will promise to no longer do my slam poetry. Instead, I'll watch players get slammed as Arcadian makes the timely escape. Ragnarok used by Terranzo probably kept that Olaf alive, and gentleman's agreement not to pursue it any further.
Yeah, that was really, really close from Arcadian there to turn that round. Really, really close. Terranzo lucky to be alive. And this is where we're starting to see that Arcadian on that Yone really, really start to, push that advantage.
Oh,
caught him out.
Spark does a bit of damage to Zanzuki. Not enough really to warrant a fight, I would think. QUT kind of looking for it, but they're not going to get too much. Meanwhile, up above, Arcadian on this split push has just been slowly whittling away at UOM. And every time they try to react to it, it just does not go in favor of the red side, as Arcadian is able to mitigate so much of that damage and just walk away.
Yeah, see, the weird thing is that Sam the Simp on that set has a really, really good engage for the side of UOM. He moves at the speed of light with his Q in that Ghost active. As we might actually have a potential fight breakout as the jungle roam from 3 members of UOM.
Yeah, we can see UOM, they're going to try and stop QUT from taking this tower. Satchel Charge again used a little bit too early out at Little Simo, so the tower will stand for now. UOM won't be able to find that re-engage. No reason to force the issue, as a bad fight could cost either side that big purple worm, which is now on the map. So you're seeing a bit of cautious play. You got to be a bit wearisome, though. Sam the Simp, as well as Entropic, actually run into each other on the flanks, and Ragnarok straight down the middle. Flick! Wrong time to drop the final spot. The two-shot barrage doesn't do too much, but up above, the showstopper on the Little Simo pulls him out of position. Yes, you have the Mega Infernal Bomb, but it doesn't do that much to really turn the tides of this fight. A 2-for-1 at the moment as Roach goes barreling straight down the middle. Entropic using Lilia to its utmost potential, just running in and out exactly like the champion is designed for. Flash Q out of Roach, though may have caught out Tron the Bomb, or did it? We're trapped in with Tron, not the other way around, as he gets 1 kill. Going golden is Entropic, not going to survive. Tron gets 1 before falling themselves, might actually get 2. Cotton Dude has to run away from a very angry ninja. It's an unofficial ace for UOM.
That was really, really close. Tron the Bomb there doing an absurd amount of damage very, very quickly, nearly turning that round. And UOM, although they come out on top, only just come out on top on that fight, and they're going to grab a tower for their trouble. However, UT will still be back up for the time Dragon respawns, so a sort of placebo fight, as not really any benefit was gained and nothing was lost other than a little bit of kill.
Something, though, that QUT has to be wary of is that 5-0 and 2 Zanzuki on the Ezreal. 3 items completed right now for Zanzuki, and that is going to be a force to be reckoned with in this upcoming Dragon fight. Zanzuki has been doing such a great job in playing relatively safe, as you can see the Skull Bug was secured by UOM despite the steal attempt out of Flick. A bit of poke goes down, but it hits Roach, and UOM should have the Dragon control at this stage. QUT, it's up to them whether or not they want to fight.
Yeah, and something to take note of, Entropic actually was doing a fair bit of damage in that fight, all things considered. Arcadian?
Yeah, Arcadian jumps in, procs the Dragon, then gets out, but it's taken quite low in the process, and without the mid laner, QUT, they need to be very, very careful right here. Arcadian, though, should be able to get some of that health back, has the Vampiric Scepter, and bot lane all to themselves, so UOM has a small window to work with, and they're not going to get too much from it just yet.
Yeah, realistically, Tron the Pom needs to be on that top side, shoving that wave in, trying to collapse that tower down, and then TP in if he's needed, because right now, neither team is really getting any benefit, whereas if they can put him top lane or even mid lane and get him to send down, that's a much better option.
That ward in the bush next to the Dragon actually is going to be the death of Arcadian. The poke was connecting. He should have known vision was there. Little Simo forced to use a satchel charge to get out of the pit. No mid laner available means Sam the Simp is able to run straight after QUT, but it's a wonderful 2-man route. The final spark actually gets all the health bars quite low, and the Dragon doing significant damage to the backline of UOM. QUT thanks the Dragon for its services by whacking it in the head a couple times before letting it reset. UOM not giving up on the play just yet. Terran has to be very, very cautious. No Ragnarok available for this Olaf as Entropic is going to lead the charge in. Terran forced the flash, still taking quite low. That burn nearly taking Olaf down as the rest of QT tries to secure the Dragon. UOM backs off. Dragon taken by the blue side.
Really, really good there from QT. The mistake from Arcadian somehow didn't cost them the Dragon. I don't know how that happens, because all things considered, UOM had no reason to lose that. However, a really good ultimate out of Entropic there on the Lilia was able to take advantage of some misstep, and overall, a really, really clean fight. They didn't even need the Stand United from Shen there. Shen was able to continue doing his thing in that fight and didn't even need to be the defensive bubble.
Little Simo on the tail end of that fight actually was doing such a good job of sort of keeping QUT in it, both with the bombs and the satchel charges, just used as that zoning mage that Ziggs is. Quintessential for QUT not to give everything up. What I find interesting, though, is this is the second game in a row where we're seeing a team make an initial mistake and then not get punished for it. As Sam the Sip now charging after Arcadian, who's trying to lunge away to safety, but Sam the Sip able to force a flash out. UOM committing 4 members on that one pick attempt that could have been Baron for UOM, but instead, it still might be fought for.
Yeah, that was a weird play from Arcadian. It's the second time, although it didn't consume the ultimate in that Dragon fight, it's the second time he's had to ult defensively because of a misplay. So there, again, he had no vision. He didn't know where they were. So it was a bit of a bizarre fight to go for. As UOM might actually, they're just going to turn onto the Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, Baron has been started. At the same time, you can see Tron the Palm just continuing to shove in the bot side. Eventually is going to have to try to find a way back into this Baron pit. Damage coming from behind. Little Simo throwing those bombs in there. Redemption actually does get Terran a little bit healthier. Final spark down the middle. Entropic steals Terran Zoo's life. I thought that was the Baron take. Not quite yet. Health bars still quite low for UOM as in comes Tron the Palm. A double kill taken for Entropic. Another member falls. Triple kill on this Liliana Zanzuki on the tail end, trying to stay alive. Eventually, Trump is going to connect on the taunt. That is your ace. That will be your Baron QUT. They might even try to end the game. Teleports going down to that bot side. It will be Little Simo looking to take Nexuses.
Yeah, really, really good here from them to send Little Simo in the bot lane. They know they can get the Baron without it, so all they're doing is prepping those minions to immediately get Baron buff when they get it. A really good fight from QUT. Some really weird mistakes from UOM and QUT, to be fair, but Zanzuki gets caught out, doesn't have anywhere to go, and by that point, he's dead. That Baron fight, they really didn't burst it as fast as I thought they were. They had a lot of time by themselves to get that down, and they didn't get it. So really, really unfortunate for UOM there, as this game has just gone from bad to worse, as pretty much in 2 minutes, QUT is just going to contest that soul.
And I go back to the first 15 minutes of this game. I go back to sort of the team compositions of this game. Not having that Karma being played mid lane, not actively trying to punish the Lilia with her weaker early game clears. I feel like it's really come back to bite UOM because Entropic, now that this Lilia has those items, has that damage, has that mobility, is proving to be too much for the team without any real forms of hard crowd control to handle. They have no way to stop Entropic when he starts running around in these team fights, connecting on all of these abilities, getting the sleeps, getting the shields as well. Like, Entropic has turned my entire perception of this champion around just because we got to that late game Lilia.
Yeah, and this is the problem with Lilia, is she doesn't do great damage early, but she does pretty damn good damage late game, which is really, really hard to, get to, though, which is why she's seen as such a negative champion, is because in reality, especially in most people's games, you're never going to get to that point. Someone's going to be picking a Kha'Zix or Rengar or something, and you're just not going to get to play the game. Whereas if you can get Lilia to this point with a successful team comp, a couple of kills under her belt, some items, she has a free Liandry's from a passive. Add Liandry's onto Liandry's. That hurts. It really does. So I never thought I'd say it, but Lilia is actually a decent champion, and they should have picked Nunu mid
Yeah, I would still have been okay with saying that Karma mid in this situation. Either way, UOM not really successful in punishing this QUT lineup. The game has gotten late, which is where QUT wanted to be. Credit as well to Arcadian as well in helping QUT sort of get in this position with that constant split push pressure. UOM was never really in a spot where they couldn't actively look to punish QUT without giving something up. However, when you want to be the aggressive team, it's okay to give up some objectives if it means accelerating the pace of your own game. And I think that was just a sacrifice UOM perhaps wasn't willing to make at times. Too often, we saw them double or triple committing, trying to stop Arcadian, where that could have been used to punish the rest of the QUT lineup. And as a result, we're in this position right now where QUT, they control this game. They're going to be getting a Dragon Soul, it looks like, as it is secured by Entropic. Sam the Simp still going to be looking for this fight as Roach goes barreling in. A shutdown onto the Lilia. However, the rest of QUT is here to turn it around. Roach goes down. Those bombs out of Little Simo doing so much work. It's actually turning the fight in favor of QUT. Terran won't be able to get out of this Dragon Pit alive. A double kill for Arcadian as Zanzuki once more, the sole survivor from UOM, going to try to escape, but the damage has been done. QUT have completely blown this game open.
Yeah, they're completely blown it open. They've got the soul, they've got the sustain. There's really nothing Zanzuki can do here except try and survive, which he probably will, all things considered. It's, you know, there's not much point in chasing, whereas QT is just going to run down this mid lane. Don't know if they'll be able to end it, but they can definitely get 2 inhibs.
Yeah, they're going to be putting a lot of pressure on these Nexus towers, I feel like. Still 10 seconds until Sam the Simp is up. Zanzuki really is the only one I feel like who can actually get some sustained damage down against this QUT side right now, and doing what he can behind the safety of Roach, and QUT will back away for now. However, this is going to be a major reset for QUT. I'm expecting to see some big items. Specifically, watch what Little Simo picks up, because already with 3 items, we're seeing the damage this Ziggs can put out. I'm scared to see what comes next.
Yeah. One thing, and I think it's the real flaw of UOM's team. Oh, actually, a fight breakout.
Oh, that could be a catch on the Arcadian. In fact, it is, when the Mega Inferno Bomb doesn't do that much on the tail end, yet still QUT possibly looking for that fight. Entropic trying to take down Terran Su, but Sam the Simp will cut off the back off alone on that set. Finally, Little Simo arrives, but cannot break through those shields. Entropic, the speed on late game Lilia will just zip right out of that one as super minions are starting to pound into the UOM base.
Yeah, see, this is the problem. UOM realistically cannot
Stop the
commit to...
backs.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta stop the backs, and they're successful in doing so. Yes, it gives up Flick's life. However, those super minions are still doing work, as 2 more members of QUT actually might be getting caught out. Entropic forced to go golden. That will just buy some time, perhaps, for Sam the Simp to possibly find Trom the Palm. Eventually, Entropic does go down. Little Simo has been found on the tail end. Cotton Toot and Zanzuki trying to chase this Ziggs, who is forced to flash away. Super minions actually don't take down any Nexus towers, so you could argue that that desperation play to stop the backs to try to end the game may not have been worth it.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think that was worth it. If they were really trying to go for that, you have 3 teleports. Use one of them. They had 3 available. They could have sent, you know, Simo in with the ultimate to try just to disrupt the back. Same with Flick throwing out his ultimate. And then teleport 1-2 people in just to really get that poke down. That was just almost an overcommit of greed, I think. That was a bit of overconfidence from the side of QUT, because they were fighting very, very broken fights undermanned. So I don't know why they decided to do that, because there was really no benefit for them if they did that. They needed to just reset, go back, get what they needed to do. Baron's up in 8 seconds, get Baron, push down mid and get it. So a bit of a weird fight there, using a lot to get nothing from both teams realistically. QT is still in a much better position than UOM, but it does show you that UOM still has the potential to beat them in a fight.
One issue UOM has, though, although it has now been rectified, was the lack of vision on this Baron. However, it will be spotted by QUT, so Baron, that next major point of contention. If UOM can find a way to steal this Baron buff back, perhaps they can find a way back into the game, but they need to be careful. Arcadian able to jump over that wall, get some poke before flying back to safety, as Little Simo just doing so much damage from such a far range. Zanzuki, really that only last line of defense for UOM. If they're going to find a way back in this game, it's going to be off of the back of this Ezreal, it feels like, as QUT trying to force UOM into a bad fight.
Yeah, and see, this is really going to be the problem with UOM's team fight. We just got some 3 Baron poke coming out, but actually, never
True Shot
mind.
Barrage does not connect, but Lil Simo still taking quite low. That is going to force the Stand United out of Tron the Palm, who now will turn it into a numbers advantage, perhaps in favor of QUT. Zanzuki has 2 supports protecting him at this stage, but will it be enough? Not if he gets caught by bombs like that. Arcadian tries to go in for the kill, however, gets knocked up in return. A big redemption might keep Cotton Dude alive, but he stepped out of it before the heal. Zanzuki is caught in the slow. He will be going to sleep. He is forced to cleanse in order to keep running for their life. QUT breathing down the neck of UOM.
Yeah, and see, this is the real problem that UOM is going to have, is that they realistically have 2 damage dealers, and that's Taranzu and Zanzuki, and Taranzu is a more, you know, sustained, run-in-their-face sort of DPS dealer, not a really consistent high damage dealer. Zanzuki's all they've got, so there's a lot of targets on the side of QUT that realistically UOM just has no answers to.
This Baron is already taken quite low. If the Baron falls, so do UOM's chances of this game. Terran's been caught out as well, has a GA, forced to burn Flash. Where's the True Shot Barrage? It needs to come now, and I don't see it happening. Baron secured by QUT.
Yeah, Baron secured by QT there. They're just going to march their way down mid right now. They are in a very good position to do so. They don't even have to worry about 1-3, 1-1-4. They don't care. They're just going to 0-5-0 right down that ARAM lane.
Yeah, as Arcadian already getting some damage down to Rudge, but Zanzuki is the target they need to be after. Those little Mystic shots not really connecting on any priority targets just yet, although the cannon does go down just as the inhibitor respawns. UOM needs to step forward, though, if they want to get rid of some of these Baron-empowered minions, just because of the range alone. Otherwise, they will be getting free shots at the inhibitor. Zanzuki nearly caught out, but it's actually Sam the Sif who's pulled into a bad situation. A great play out of Arcadian just blows the front door wide open. Zanzuki has been found. Entropic as well as Tron the Palm will chase him down. No more damage, no more hope. QUT will win this game.
Really, really good teleport play there out of Arcadian, making use of that movement speed along with his E to catch UOM way out of position, gets that ultimate off, and cleans up 3 members, giving his team a way into that fight. GG QUT, a really, really good win from them.
It was our longest game so far.